welcome, history enthusiasts, to the dark abyss of medieval Europe where a silent killer reigned supreme. Join me as we unravel the bone-chilling saga of the Black Plague, a haunting tale of death and the resilient human will to survive. Origin of the Black Plague. What cataclysmic event altered the very fabric of existence, sending shockwaves through the corridors of history and instilling terror across Europe and Asia in the 14th century. Imagine this vivid scene. In the fateful month of October 1347, a flotilla of 12 ships traversed the turbulent Black Sea, making port at Sicily's bustling harbor of Messina. A somber assembly awaited those vessels on the docks, greeted not by the warmth of life but by the chilling spectacle of demise. The sailors, once robust and resilient, lay strewn across the decks, claimed by an unforgiving illness. Those who clung to life faced a nightmarish reality, their bodies afflicted with ebony-hued boils, oozing a ghastly mixture of blood and pus. With alarming haste, the authorities of Sicily, gripped by dread, commanded the expulsion of these morbid vessels, known ominously as the death ships. Yet, fate had already etched its grim narrative for the ensuing half-decade. The relentless grasp of the Black Death tightened, exacting a toll so profound that it eclipsed comprehension. The toll was staggering. Over 20 million souls perished across the landscapes of Europe, a catastrophic upheaval, ravaging nearly one-third of the continent's populace. Symptoms of the Black Plague. Picture this chilling reality as the Black Death swept across Europe. Giovanni Boccaccio, an Italian poet, vividly described its gruesome toll. Men and women alike faced a terrifying onset. A peculiar swelling, starting near the groin or under the armpits. These swellings, innocent at first, grew to the size of apples or eggs, oozing blood and pus, earning the grim moniker plague boils among the masses. But that was just the beginning. The afflicted endured a barrage of horrors. Raging fevers, bone-chilling chills, relentless vomiting, gut-wrenching diarrhea, and agonizing aches, all leading swiftly to the ultimate fate. The bubonic plague targeted the body's lymphatic system, causing these grotesque swellings in the lymph nodes. Left untreated, the infection could rampage through the blood or invade the lungs, sealing a tragic fate for its victims. Before we continue with our adventure, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell not to miss future videos every week. Let's get back to the video. How did the plague spread? Black Death, alarmingly contagious, struck fear with its indiscriminate spread. Boccaccio's account highlighted the eerie ease of transmission. Merely touching the garments of an infected individual seemed enough to contract the dreadful malady. Such was its terrifying efficiency that individuals in the prime of health, as they retired for the night, could succumb to its grasp by the break of dawn. The swiftness of its onslaught was nothing short of chilling, leaving communities bewildered and shaken by the abrupt and tragic loss of their loved ones within a matter of hours. Understanding the Black Death. Centuries later, scientists unveiled the culprit behind the horror of the Black Death, a bacterium known as Yersinia pestis, a revelation pioneered by the French biologist Alexandre Yersin in the late 1800s. This menacing bacillus wasn't picky. It traveled through the air in hitched rides via the bites of infected fleas and rats, acting as carriers. In medieval Europe, these pests were ubiquitous, thriving everywhere, especially aboard various ships. And so, the deadly plague found passage from one European port to another, spreading its devastation. Means the grim march of the Black Death was relentless. From Messina, it crept into Marseilles in France and Tunis in North Africa, reaching the pivotal hubs of Rome and Florence, entangled in a web of bustling trade routes. By mid-1348, its ominous shadow loomed over cities like Paris, Bordeaux, Lyon, and London. Today, we can decipher this harrowing tale with the knowledge at hand. Yet, imagine the bewilderment of the 14th century. There were no rational answers then. The transmission of the Black Death remained an enigma. Its prevention and cure were shrouded in uncertainty. A doctor from that era proposed a chilling theory that the mere gaze upon the afflicted released a lethal spirit, instantly striking down those who looked upon them, or is the lack of understanding and effective remedies cast a haunting aura over that time. Treatment of the Black Death. Doctors of the time turned to risky methods like bloodletting and boil lancing, practices not just unsafe, but also unhygienic. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos, healthy individuals went to extremes to avoid the sick. Physicians refused patients. Priests shunned last rites and shops shut down. Fleeing to the countryside seemed a refuge, yet the disease persisted, affecting not just people but also livestock like cows, sheep, and chickens. The fallout was extensive. The Black Death led to a scarcity of European wool as countless sheep succumbed. Tragically, in a bid for self-preservation, some even deserted their ailing kin. So Kakio captured this desperation, noting how everyone sought immunity, often at the expense of forsaking their own loved ones. A Black Plague, God's punishment? Because the biology of the disease remained a mystery. Many attributed the Black Death to divine punishment, a wrathful response for perceived sins like greed, blasphemy, and indulgence in worldly affairs. To remedy this divine art, seeking God's forgiveness was deemed essential. Some believed that purging their communities of heretics and disruptors would secure this redemption. Tragically, this notion led to massacres of thousands of Jews in 1348 and 1349, while others sought refuge in less populated parts of Eastern Europe to escape the violent urban mobs. Amidst the terror, responses varied. Some lashed out at their neighbors, venting their fear and uncertainty, while others turned inward, consumed by worries about their own salvation. Flagellants. Some affluent men sought solace by joining flagellant processions that roamed town to town, publicly atoning for sins through drastic acts of self-inflicted punishment. They'd vigorously whip themselves and each other using hefty leather straps adorned with sharp metal. An agonizing ritual repeated thrice daily for 33.5 days before moving on to the next town. While this movement offered solace to those grappling with the inexplicable tragedy, it raised concerns for the Pope. The flagellants' growing influence encroached upon papal authority, prompting resistance and ultimately leading to the movement's dissolution. The end of Black Death. Plague, an unwelcome visitor that lingered in the shadows, returned with an unrelenting fury after its initial assault. However, nestled within the lively streets of Ragusa, officials engineered a strategy that would impede its ruthless spread, a practice that reverberates through history's corridors even today. Her ingenious solution, a pioneering form of social distancing woven into the fabric of isolation. As ships docked, arriving sailors faced a stark mandate, a mandated period of seclusion until absolute certainty prevailed regarding their freedom from the disease's grasp. Initially, this seclusion spanned 30 days, labeled the Trentino, later extended to a 40-day stint dubbed quarantine. This measure not only birthed the term quarantine, but also stands as a poignant emblem of resilience, a practice entrenched in contemporary times to mitigate the spread of unforeseen perils. Does the Black Plague still exist? The Black Death, that harrowing epidemic, seemed to relent by the early 1350s, yet its haunting legacy echoed through the annals of time, resurfacing cyclically across generations for centuries to come. Despite our strides in modern sanitation and public health measures, while we've curbed its impact significantly, eradicating it remains an elusive goal. Yet, in this contemporary era, our arsenal includes antibiotics to combat the Black Death, a boon to medicine. However, even with these advances, the World Health Organization paints a sobering reality. 1,000 to 3,000 plague cases emerging. This staggering figure serves as a stark reminder that despite our progress, the shadow of this ancient scourge still looms in pockets of our world. And there you have it, folks. If you stayed until the end, make sure to comment what you would like to see next on the channel. See you all in the next video.